Yes, welcome you all. Today we are going to have a discussion on very emerging and interesting topic, that theatre in education. So today we are having our guest, Gayatri Padmanabhan. She is a theatre and acting coach, a computer engineer, former assistant professor at Amrita Vishwavidyapitham, Amrita University, Coimbatore, now PhD researcher, Bharatanatyam and Mohiniyattam exponent, theatre artist, drives Kala Nilayam Foundation, works closely with state government on women empowerment. So welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So today our discussion will be on theatre in acting. Theatre in education. So education itself is an experiment of learning, then sharing knowledge. So how we can impart theatre into the concept of education?
Actually, I must say that theatre is one of the most effective pedagogical tool to teach anything to anyone at any age or any gender. So it is one of the most effective tools. Say now to children, if we have to teach some concept, we can always teach through stories. We can always teach through role plays. We can always teach them to, through theater. So there is always this misconception that theater means acting. So why should everyone learn theater? Because everyone is not going to be into cinema or actors. So I really want to tell you that theater is not just about acting. Theater is about life. It is about life skills. So whatever you want to impart to a student, whichever age be, theater is one of the most effective tool.
Yeah, recently we are having the Montessori education system, and like Flinders classroom, we're doing some experiments or some activities then by learning. So the kids will be much more involved, mainly in the case of kindergarten or the low primary sections. But when coming to the higher education, like we are having school of drama, the acting schools in India, the premier institutes also. So I mean, misconcept will be the theater in education. So what will be that theater in education? That filmmaking in education, that is a part of they're providing some degree also, providing degree in editing, filmmaking, all these things, acting. So how we can separate, or what is the main guard band between both these concepts?
Okay, so let me tell you, like when we speak about role plays or storytelling or activities, we have this concept that, okay, it is possible to small children because we are used to telling stories to small children. But how is it effective to, because in colleges, in the college level? And we have this, as you told, we have this drama schools, theater courses, acting courses. So that they all are separate. So in a theater or an acting course, say you go to a drama school or you go to some film institute and learn a course in acting, then that is specific to acting. But theater is not just acting. Theater involves so many, in fact, all the fields of art come together in theater. Say acting is there, script writing is there, time management is there, team building is there, dialogue delivery is there, effective verbal, non-verbal communication is there, then lighting is there, technology is needed, utilization of space and architectural mindset is needed, costumes, so fashion designers are needed, technicians, sound engineers are required, musicians are required, background music is required. So when it comes properties, so art designing is required. So when it comes to theater, music, dance, everything. So there isn't any area of art that doesn't come into theater. Or not just art, technology too. Without technology, now most of the theater, no, street plays and all, maybe, yes, may not be using technology extensively. But the current, stage, the dramas are using holograms and such things. So where is it telling that it is for small children? And when we teach, say, I was also a professor in Amrita teaching engineering students. So I always feel that more we articulate, the more we have a better sound modulation, the more we have an emotional connect with the student, with each and every student in the class, the more we give examples to them, the more we show them real life examples, the concept gets into their mind easily. Rather than simply putting a PPT and just running through it and giving them some project. Do you remember, you are a professor, do you remember the concepts that you have learned in college like that? Or do you remember the concepts taught by teachers who were good in interpersonal skills?
Yeah, when this question comes to me, I am going back like a flashback. The poem which we have studied in kindergarten, where all students sings the rhyme together in a KG classroom, we still experience and remember those days. Because in childhood days, the group plays or the activities which we have involved. But when come to the college and all, we still remember the arts fest or the science fest rather than the classroom, because there comes the teamwork. But knowingly or unknowingly, while involving in such cultural activities, or whether it's a technical program or whatever it may be, somewhat we are learning something at that point of time. Or final projects, we are managing the time, how utilize each individual in a particular space. That concept is coming. So it's more or less a teamwork. More this scenario, I think it's more important in the case of management studies also. Whereas
it is relevant in every area. Say you go to a multinational company and you are working there. So you need interpersonal skills. And how do you become innovators? How do you make children innovators? Because only when they see the problems outside, only when they are open and only when they have the creativity, they can come up with solution. Before coming up with solution, they must be able to identify real problems to come up with solutions. If they don't have that mindset, everyone will end up as mediocre, their life, they will, live the way they have been taught to. Morning they will wake up, go to some job, do something for someone without even knowing what they are doing, and desperate, come home, just chill and then sleep and again repeat. No, there
more
must
or
be
less
value.
nowadays in classroom also, some children, they are not, they don't know how to laugh, because they are still having that barrier, and they are not able to break or
Yes.
express their views. I think
Yes.
like this theater in education, especially when NEP is coming into
Yes.
implementation, I think it's going to have a uh,
Yes.
real importance.
Yes,
And one
because in
or the other way.
NEP, throughout it is speaking about theater. It is speaking about 360-degree education. So the biggest challenge is you need to have right coaches or right collaborators to teach, to impart something through some concepts through theater. Not everyone can do. So initially the teachers must be trained, then the students must be trained. So it's a huge process. It will take some time. But I wish and hope that the managements, the schools, the colleges, they take it seriously and implement it, because it must be education for life, as we say in Amrita, right? It's not for living. There must be life in it. So to have life, it's not just earning, that is enough. They must have virtues, and they must have their own creativity, and they must be able to express themselves properly.
Yeah,
And
in order
theater is the
to
best tool to come out to enhance their creativity and to help them to express effectively.
So, but as ma'am has pointed it out, that on implementation part of this concept, it will take time, because we need teachers as well as students, because it's like give and take. The chemistry has to be there, because if student is idle, teacher will be idle. If teacher is not proactive, student may not be active, and finally it will be ending up in documentation only.
But
So,
most of the time, sir, I would say if the teacher is active, the students will be active.
yeah, definitely.
Students will never be idle if the teacher can handle the class properly.
And we can see nowadays lot of emotional instability is also happening in colleges,
Yes.
and students are really for getting low marks or losing a placement or some small issues. They are totally fed up, and they are not able to move forward. But when they are undergoing like theater experience or a teamwork where they are having much more space to exhibit their feeling and to share their ideology, as whatever it may be, like video editing, scripting, acting, dancing, singing, because art is a area of n dimensions. because we can't put it inside a book. There is no
Yes.
particular theory, because
Yes,
a
yes.
person who has learned a music may not be singing. There is no theory concept. Some
Yes.
basics will be there, but it is beyond that.
Yes.
So everyone may not be able to experience that modulation, because
Yes.
there is a modulation. There must be a modulation. Some
Yes.
may not be fit to that part, especially in whether we are learning in arts like music or dance or something. But they must have some inborn talent, or not inborn talent. I mean, that modulation or rhythm must be there. But
actually, as you told about inborn talent, I think by default, everyone is born as an artist. It's the quote unquote formal education that is hampering our creativity and talent.
yeah, that is very, there is a fact, because if you put a baby into a pool, definitely they will be having a tendency to float. But
Yes.
when an elderly person without knowing swimming, find it difficult to learn
Yes.
initially. So
Yes.
everything is within us, but we need to brush it up, and we need to find some opportunity to
Yes.
exhibit our talent.
Yes,
And
because we have been brainwashed for so many years that success means you become a doctor or an engineer or some certain professions and you earn money. That is what is success for many people. But success, it's high time to redefine the concept of success to happiness. So I myself will used to think, okay, personally, while I was also born in an artistic family where art or drama or music or movies were the predominant conversation in my house. And the people with whom I had, close contact were artists or writers or journalists, not engineers, not very, these logical minded people. But still, I ended up taking engineering because that was how it was. Never had the courage, even though with a family, with a huge family backup and a lot of people to look up to, I never had the courage to take art. While after my 12th, I took the safe side and came to engineering. And even after that, even after MTech, I still didn't have the courage to drop my job and venture into theater. So I'm telling, even after getting such a, being born into such a family with such supportive parents and grandparents, I myself didn't have the courage to come out of the comfort zone. It took me a lot of time to come out of that. But when I came out of it, that's when I really realized liberation and happiness. Till then, it was, yes, outside when we look, yes, there is stability, there is so much of comfort, there is nothing to worry. There is no reason to feel upset or worried or disturbed, nothing at all. But something, I constantly had this feeling that I'm lacking something. I'm not doing something, something is missing in my life. Then only when I took the step to resign, come out of the comfort zone and step into an area where I can explore my own, my own creativity, dance or theater, or learn about it. Only then I understood what is happiness, how I love myself right now is something which I don't think I can put through words.
Yeah, happiness is a very in-depth subject, and it is having various dimensions also. But
Yes.
one thing, happiness may be vary, but it is saturated when we are involved in something which makes us always happy. Because
Yes.
if I am learning, it is a common thing that we complete 10th, then 12th, taking some particular group. That after that, when degree is coming, we choose a degree, then after that job or higher studies, or we are sometimes we may be involved in business also. Lot of things are happening. We can't predict what will be next. The marks which we gain are marked somewhere in a sheet, but the life keep on moving. But ultimately, that happiness, when a person getting first rank in 10th, nowadays it's common, like now we are going for grading, and in NEP is coming, it will be more than the skill set rather than the grades. But grades are important.
Yes.
But
Yes.
incorporating both these things, we
Yes.
have to open the door for that creativity. So
Yes.
I think we are all
Precisely.
all undergoing the placement and training. Another thing where it's challenging for all the companies and or coming, especially in an average college, or I mean, not in the premier institutes. They may be telling the students are not having good communication skills, their body language is not good, and their aptitude, all these things. But initially, I think when they are exposed to a theater experience,
it will be a tremendous
they
change.
will be undergoing a drastic changes.
Yes.
Like a training, it should not be called as training. It will be a unknown training. This will be.
It will be a part of their life.
Yeah.
Their character will automatically change, because see, when we speak about theater training, one thing, we go through different aspects of life and emotions in different characters. So naturally, empathy comes into play. So suppose we think about, we stand in the shoes of different characters. We get to feel, we get to think, we get to brainstorm about different people, their emotions, what they go through and how they react. Say this is one activity which I give to children, maybe 10th, 11th, 12th children. Like the same situation that comes in their life, like they are losing in some competition which they really wanted to win. How will they react? Write a script, prepare. So if they are not good in acting, at least they can prepare a script. At least they can think about how their reaction will be. At least they can visualize how their reaction will be. So likewise, we give them so many situations which can happen in their life, good and bad, and ask them to reflect on how your reaction will be. Or have you seen someone reacting in such a situation? How is that? How do you evaluate? So we reflect a lot on emotions. We reflect a lot on our own mind, our own attitude. So that gives them a lot of chance to explore their emotions. So emotional intelligence is one result that they will definitely be having better emotional intelligence than those who don't have an exposure to theater. Like when it comes to Indian culture, even the as you may not have observed, maybe when you take the dance across the world, except the Southeast Asian countries, all the other places, dance is just dance. Except here in Southeast Asian countries and mainly in India, it is storytelling, it is drama. We do everything as a story. Every dance, every classical dance, or be it a traditional dance, or most of the folk dances are dances which communicate stories. So it is theater, and the age-old textbook in this entire world is Natya Shastra, which dates back to thousands of years, to BCs. So that is also a biggest, the biggest research work on theater, where it speaks of architecture, it speaks of every aspect, music, Vedas, the mantras, the hand gestures, the body movements, everything. So you can understand, and it says in Natya Shastra, maybe we can take it as a story or not, but whatever. The first chapter of Natya Shastra speaks about the origin of Natya Shastra. And in it, the story they are telling is that at the beginning of the Treta Yuga, the moral values of people started to degrade. So seeing that, the Devas got so upset and they approached Brahma, telling that look at the world, people are, their moral value is getting degraded. So we must do something to bring them back to the right track. So Brahma says, then, that's the only way we can bring someone to the right track is by having the right education. So he says about Vedas, let everyone learn Veda, but it is not possible for everyone to learn Veda. For that, an entire life or maybe so many lives, we don't know, we have to dedicate. So every human being cannot sit and learn Veda. So Brahma requests, Devas request Brahma to create a fifth Veda, which has the essence from all the four Vedas, and which will be interesting, entertaining to everyone, irrespective of their caste, creed, or whatever, okay, gender, irrespective, just as human beings. If they must be able to understand the values through that. So it is this Natya Veda that has been created. So the whole idea of theater or Natya is to elevate human beings.
I think it's a vast, in-depth subject because a lot of things are coming into it. I think a lot of research are going, and we can see from ancient time, it's very, very vast. It has been started years beyond certain yugas also. This was there in this world, and it's continuing and in different forms. As you have mentioned, while reading Mahabharata or seeing a Mahabharata visual, even a small child to an old age person can feel that visualization in mind, irrespective of their literacy, because I may not be good in Sanskrit or may not be good in that quality of Malayalam to read Ramayana, because it's very, that much quality will be there in that Malayalam. Yes. Yes. But when we are seeing it in the visual, each person can understand the concept.
Yes.
So that is the importance of visualization. And as Ma'am has mentioned, while enacting or acting or doing something, we can place ourselves in that situation. For example, in the case of management or in a role play, we are just being that part. If we were in that position, how we will be reacting, or how what will be our mannerisms. Because each thing is very much important. The minute thing is going to have an in-depth detail.
Yes.
So, and that should be coming into picture, like a student studying something, a teacher is teaching, but a teacher without knowing, him or her will be correcting the answers. And sometimes they will get grading the marks. So then unknowingly or knowingly, they are only reading from that answers. So we'll be telling, write the points in this way, in order to maintain and like that is the concept actually in olden days.
Yes, yes. Like how we study for our exams, university exams, we by heart some diagrams, we just put it there. Yeah. And after a few weeks, when we look in that answer paper, we'll be wondering, how did we write that day? Yeah. Because it's just mugging up and, just putting it out without even knowing. We say, we have a lot of electrical engineers and we have to ask how many of them know even to change a bulb.
But when it comes to a teamwork to implement something, but then we are having the exchange of ideas, then we are having the teamwork, or we will be identifying the right person to do that. I may not be good in everything. So I have to involve the people who are strong to reduce or hide my weakness, and they can take the strength from me. So together it will be working together. That is the case of a stage also. Everyone cannot do the same role.
Yes.
If there is a center character also, the other side, a small character may be having that much importance.
Yes.
So,
like we see in movies, Jagadi's role, Jagadi has to do. Or, okay, Odivil Unikrishnan's role, Odivil Unikrishnan has to do.
All are having their unique potential. They cannot be replaced.
Cannot be replaced.
And the thing is,
so it is and there is one more thing I feel, when we give them right theater education, they become more refined human beings. There will be more refinement in their thoughts. There will naturally be more refinement in their actions. Like we say, the more we read, we get a lot of exposure to about the world, about different aspects. So theater is a great, I think there is no other better way to impart all these things other than theater. Like when we even look into when we go back and look into the ancient India, we can see the music was integrated together with dance. And all these dance postures you can see as sculptures. So Shilpa Shastram, Natya Shastram, and the music, everything, psychology, stories, literature, everything is interconnected.
And
everything.
Yeah, everything is having its own underlying story also, and one or the other way it's a storytelling, where the other end, the receiving end, will be getting a good visualization.
Yes. Like we are, and an elevation.
Yeah, we are telling a story to a child, he or she may be thinking that visual will be there. In a forest, a lion was there. So all these things, the visualization will be there. Similarly, I think all these moral values or total nurturing of a student to a good citizen or a socially committed person for the country can happen through this theater art.
Very much. Because same, even while you were telling about the visual, in movies, we can completely give them the proper visual. But when it is theater, we can only show here and there, few things with few properties. Then it is rest is for the imagination of the audience. Like you can see the theater forms like Kudiyattam and Kathakali, where there is not even a single property. And still, I still remember watching Kudiyattam of Amanur Madhava Chakyar, where he's showing a mountain. It's taking a lot of time just with his eyes and eyebrows. He's explaining, he's giving us the details of the mountain. So we, as an audience, as a person who is watching it, our imagination is also broadened. Like Shiva seeing the Kailasa, a lot of time is being spent and with the eyes and the face and the eyebrows, explaining what all Shiva is seeing there. So we don't get a full visual like as that in a movie. So there is always a room for our own imagination. So my visual of that mountain and your visual of that mountain will be different, but we will still experience that mountain.
And by learning in a classroom, we are writing the maths or the physics or chemistry, biology, whatever it may be. We are doing it in 2 dimension only. We are not able to see the third dimension in reality. But when it comes to the simulation or the other point, we can feel always we are telling that one Z axis is also there and we are going for n dimension. But ultimately in the theater, we are using the entire space with our Pancha Indriya. The 5 senses are being working at that time.
Yes.
There is no relevance or there is no any other thing where we are using the 5 senses together and the whole space. It's like utilization of the space also, where I am standing, at what distance my hand should go, my sound modulation, the eye contact, the minute thing to the extreme level. So there comes a management, the overall time scaling as well as our space
space management. Yes.
So I think the students, like nowadays we are having sometimes Nada, Kalari, all these things are being happening during the vacation time for students. And knowingly or unknowingly, they are totally having a personality change.
Definitely. No doubt. So just imagine we having theater as a course in our schooling and in our college level. Just imagine if we have got not just as a summer camp throughout. Just imagine all the teachers are trained in theater and we get to learn from teachers who are, who have this level of understanding a student and understanding a concept. Imagine how great it would have been.
So I think more or less the stereotype should also be broken. Like a teacher must be like this, a student must be like this. It's like a give and take of knowledge and like a teamwork. And as you have mentioned, the teachers must also be trained for this.
Yes, very much.
Because they are also new to this this space, and there are a lot of ideology and concept which has to be analyzed.
Yes, and because if the teacher is judgmental, and if the student comes up with some creative idea, if the teacher is judgmental and the teacher is telling what a stupid idea, then that completely spoils or hampers that child's creativity. The child will never again think out of the box. So the teachers definitely require training.
So
that's a huge thing.
Yeah. So I think you are entering into a vast area which has got a lot of exploration. There are a number of doors. If you are opening one, the treasure will be in the other, because it's like 360-degree evaluation or 360-degree research rather than a subject. When we are reaching at a particular point, then only we will be knowing we are just starting from this point to the other point. Yes. Similarly, it is a continuous process, and that courage must be there, that guts must be there to explore that. And we are knowingly or unknowingly, that courage, we are imparting that courage in the students also. They must be courageous, irrespective of their gender, their background, their concept. They must have the freedom of thought, the freedom of expression. And they must be nurtured in such a way that for an overall personality development should happen.
Yes, because so courage is a right word, as you pointed out. Right, the most important the quality that must be there in each one of us and all the students. courage, because we don't know how life is going to be, how life situations are going to be, and whatever be it, if we have the courage, we can face everything. And like you were telling, it's the area that I'm venturing into. And right now what Kalanilayam is planning is we are giving theater as a course right now, as a 6-month course, which we will be giving yearly to schools, colleges, and organizations, where we will be giving them training. Suppose if we are giving to school, it will be completely based on the NEP's requirements of NEP's guidelines. So the curriculum we design, and with all assignments, evaluations, everything we will be giving. And together with that, we will be training the teachers too in that school. The same way to college too. So the kind of activities we will be giving to a school level children will be totally different from the activities we'll be giving to a college level student, or the activities we'll be giving to someone who's working in an industry.
So as you are mentioning, when a cat jumping from top of a building, nothing will happen. Similarly, I think undergoing such courses, when we are reaching more heights or more power also, when we are jumping down, we will be able to move again with an easy, flexible manner. So I think such theater in the concept of education must happen, and it's happening. So I wish all the very best for your future endeavors and sharing your thoughts and ideology. Because,
thank you.
And I think most students and parents has to similarly, many people may be knowing many things, but they don't know how to start or how to get the right direction. So I think
I am sincerely wishing that parents understand the value of all these, because when we approach different schools, the problem is like, or colleges, the problem is like, will it, why should they learn theater? Because they are all having IIT coaching. They all are having that coaching, CAT coaching, this coaching, other coaching. So why should they waste their time in learning theater? Because that is the attitude among students, not students, I will say, among the parents and the adults, the school or the college management, because they feel all these are extracurricular activities. They don't understand that these are the necessary things. All the other, only with this, can lead to something that is holistic or that is full.
Actually, we should not tell like learning. It is an experience. Yes. We need to experience and understand it's like feeling, like we are going driving or swimming, or this thing cannot be learned without doing or experiencing. Yes. But when we are experienced, we will be enjoying that situation, like driving or swimming or running. That experience with cycling, that experience is like that. So I think when they are getting the trigger and entering into it, if they are able to modulate accordingly, definitely it will be like throughout their life in a 360 degree, they will be rotating in that. And definitely it will be, it can be viewed in their professional development also, whether
definitely they will be professional and personal, both.
In administrative level, whether it may be civil service, whatever it may be, it will be an overall development throughout the.
Definitely, no doubt in that. Imagine you having better communication skills. Imagine you can correctly put in the right words with the right tone to the right people at the right time. Imagine how your life would be. Suppose you can talk very well, correctly and effectively to your employers, correctly and effectively to your seniors, to your family members. Imagine how beautiful your life will be, how effective your life will be.
And I need to add one more thing. If one is able to speak very effectively and communicate, if the other side is also able to do the same thing, the task is very simple.
Very simple.
So we need to spread it from one to another, and the communication, the giver as well as sender, like trans receivers, the communication must undergo that easiness. So definitely that task can be achievable. So I think this is a starting point, and already you are entering into this. So I hope that in the coming years, many students are there to experience this art, this theater in education. I mean, it's an experience, theater experience in education, and experience the learning in a better way. So thanks for sharing your thoughts with me. So I think it will be beneficial for the students and parents who are having a plan to enter or like feel the experience.
Have this experience.
Yeah, to have the experience. So thank you. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you, sir. It is a pleasure speaking about theater, and it's so happy. It's a happy thing for me to know that people like you are there who understand the value of theater and understand the value of quality based education. So it's people like you are going to be the torch bearers, and I wish all everything good for you as well as your students.
Yeah, thank you. And one more thing, because now we are mentioning one thing, we are already mentioning always like empowering, but actually we need to empower through experience, whether it may be a girl or a boy, irrespective of the gender, they must understand the real social stigma and understand the concept of the society. That experience can happen only through learning and experiencing the concept of life.
Yes.
Like how we are managing a situation, how we need to act accordingly, or how we need to take the decision with courage. Decision making is also
decision making with courage as well as with discrimination. It doesn't mean that I have the courage, I will do everything, I will tell everything, I will shout, I will scream, I will beat. What's the point? Okay. Now when we see in social media, we see there is no discrimination. How much ever we speak about equality or whatever, gender, sometimes it all ends up so vulgar, because in the name of all these, which is most important thing, but what to do? There is no discrimination. They don't understand what has to be told in which platform.
And what is the main thing is that end of the day, there is no result in such cases, because we need a good result.
We need effective communication, not just reacting. We need responding, not reacting. So such ideas we get when we think in terms of different characters, when we think in terms of when we learn theater, when we go through theater, it's all a byproduct of that. And I would like to tell everyone that those who have had the experience of theater, cherish it. Those who haven't had it yet, try it once before telling that it is unnecessary. So thank you.
So it will be necessary, and it will be the most important thing in the upcoming days. We can hope for the best, and definitely I think on seeing many parents and many students are thinking about it, because it will be an overall development.
Sign. Yes.
So I wish all the very best for your this Kala Nilayam Institute also, where we are doing a lot of works and your research work in the engineering also. So thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.